I should have never answered the phone. It rang at 12:15 a.m., the exact time my father died 2 years ago. I didn't notice the time at first. I was lying in bed, half asleep, when the vibration jolted me awake. I grabbed the phone, expecting it to be my cousin Chijioke, calling to borrow money again. But the screen didn't show a name or number, just unknown caller. I hesitated. Midnight calls were never good news, but curiosity got the better of me. I answered. "Hello?" I said, my voice low. At first all I heard was static, crackling like an old radio. Then came the voice, low and scratchy, like someone whispering directly into my ear. "Do not open your door." The line went dead before I could respond. My chest tightened. I sat up, scanning the room as if someone might be there with me. The fan creaked lazily above and the generator hum outside sounded distant. Everything else was still. I tried to shake it off. Maybe it was a prank call. But just as I was about to put the phone down, there was a knock on my door. It wasn't loud, just 3 slow, deliberate taps. I froze. "Who's there?" I called out, trying to sound braver than I felt. No answer. The knock came again, this time slower. I stood and moved cautiously to the door. Peering through the peephole, I saw nothing. Just darkness. The hallway outside my room, which was usually lit by the compound's security light, was pitch black. "Who's there?" I repeated, louder this time. Silence. Then my phone buzzed in my hand. Another call. Unknown caller. I didn't want to answer it, but my thumb moved on its own, swiping the green icon. Before I could speak, the same voice whispered, "Do not look through the peephole." My stomach dropped. I stepped back, letting go of the door as if it had burned me. My phone slipped from my hand, hitting the tiled floor with a sharp crack. I didn't care. I just backed away. My heart pounding so loudly I could hear it in my ears. The knocking stopped. But then I heard footsteps. Slow, shuffling footsteps, circling my room. The window, the back wall, the bathroom door. I heard them everywhere, as if whoever it was trying to find a way inside. I crouched in the corner of the room, pressing myself against the wall, too scared to move. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was a message. "You're not alone." I didn't reply. I couldn't. My hands were shaking too much to even pick up the phone, and then the window rattled. The bars on my window were old, rusty. They'd held against thieves before, but now they groaned under pressure, as if someone or something was testing them. I forced myself to move, crawling toward the wardrobe. If I could hide, maybe I could wait it out until morning. But just as I reached the wardrobe, the phone buzzed again. Another message. "Don't move." I froze. My heart felt like it was going to burst out of my chest. Slowly, I turned my head toward the window. The rattling had stopped, but I saw something. It wasn't shaped like a person. It was too tall, too thin, its limbs bending unnaturally. It stood perfectly still, watching me through the glass. I couldn't see its face, if it even had one, but I felt its eyes on me. The footsteps started again, louder this time. They circled the room twice, then stopped right outside my door. The phone buzzed once more. This time, it was a call. Unknown caller. With trembling hands, I picked it up. "What do you want?" I stammered. The voice on the other end was calm, almost amused. "Let me in." I hung up immediately and turned off the phone, tossing it onto the bed like it was cursed. The knocking started again, harder this time. Bam, bam. It wasn't soft or slow anymore. It was urgent, angry, like whoever, whatever, was out there was done playing games. I grabbed the crucifix my mother had given me years ago, clutching it tightly as I muttered prayers under my breath. Then the banging stopped. I held my breath, straining to hear any sound. The silence was deafening, worse than the knocking. And then I heard it. The handle of the door was turning. Slowly. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. I backed up into the corner, clutching the crucifix so tightly it dug into my palm. The door didn't open. It couldn't. I'd locked it. But the handle kept turning, as if someone was testing how far they could push. Then the phone buzzed again. It wasn't a call or a message this time. It was an audio file. My hands shook as I picked it up, my thumb hovering over the play button. Against my better judgment, I pressed it. The sound that came through the speaker wasn't a voice. It was breathing. Slow, raspy breathing, like something was right next to me. And then, a whisper. "Behind you." I dropped the phone and spun around, swinging the crucifix wildly. There was nothing there. Nothing but the shadows on the wall, stretching and twisting as the light from my phone flickered. I didn't sleep that night. When morning finally came, I ran to Chijioke's house, desperate for company. I told him everything, but he just laughed, saying I'd been watching too many horror movies. That night, I stayed with him. I thought I'd be safe, until his phone rang. He frowned, picking it up. It was an unknown caller. "Don't answer it," I begged, but he did. The moment he said hello, his face changed. His expression went blank, his eyes staring past me, unfocused. He dropped the phone, and his lips began to move, whispering words I couldn't understand. Then he turned to me and smiled. It wasn't his smile. It was too wide, too unnatural, and when he spoke, it wasn't his voice. "You should have stayed home." I ran out of the house and didn't look back. To this day, I don't know what I encountered. The calls never stopped, no matter where I went. Sometimes they come at midnight, sometimes they come during the day. But one thing is always the same. When the phone rings and I see unknown caller, I don't answer anymore. But I know it's still watching me, waiting for me to slip up, waiting for me to let it in.